Good morning, friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel Medical Classes by Dr. Srinidhi Kumar Acharya. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and also please give your valuable comments. Friends, today we will discuss a very interesting aspects which is explained in Ayurveda with regarding to the present day knowledge of neurotransmitters. Yes, the contemporary medical science says that the brain activity in a given individual is basically because of the neuronal activities, and these neuronal activities actually mediated by the neurons. The end portion of the neuron, that's in the axons, there will be some of the neurotransmitters. Actually, these neurotransmitters are the one which actually decide the fate of the neurons. What I mean to say is, there are millions and millions of neurons in the CNS, central nervous system, and some of the neurons are basically excitatory in nature, and some of the neurons are basically inhibitory in nature. Now, a neuron become excitatory or neuron become inhibitory, so that depends upon the neurotransmitter which is present in the end portion, in the axons and dendroids. Some of the neurotransmitters, if they are present, that neuron become excitatory neurotransmitter, and some of the neurotransmitter, if they are present, that neuron become inhibitory. Now, if the neurotransmitter present in the neuron is glutamate P, adrenaline, or it may be dopamine, then basically that neuron will be excitatory in nature. If the neurotransmitter in the axon, if it is GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, GABA, or serotonin, etc., then that neuron become inhibitory. Now, the percentage of this excitatory neurotransmitter and inhibitory neurotransmitters should be maintained in the brain. What I mean to say is, when there is any muscular activity, suppose for example taking place, suppose take an example of any muscular activity, I am moving my hand. Now the particular neurons which are supplying to these particular muscles, or formation of the nerve which supplies to the muscles, so they now begin with the excitatory neuroactivity because they are made up of excitatory neurotransmitters. So when the activity begins, there are so many other neurons are also which are get stimulated, but basically they are inhibitory in nature. Therefore, what is the function of these inhibitory neurotransmitters? They control the over-functioning of the excitatory neurotransmitters. So there will be a balance between excitatory and inhibitory. When excitation starts, meantime there is also stimulation of some of the inhibitory neurotransmitters surrounding there, so which will going to control the overactivity of particular muscular action. Similarly, vice versa. When any inhibitory action is taking place, there is also stimulation of some of the excitatory neurotransmitters, so that that inhibitory activity should not be more. So, in short to say, there should be a balance between excitatory neurotransmitters and there should be a balance between the inhibitory neurotransmitters inside the brain to carry out the smooth functioning of the neuronal function. Now, the same has been explained in Ayurveda also in a different way. So what Ayurveda 5000 years back explained is, basically our mana is made up of three important gunas: sattva, raja, and as well as tama. Now sattva is not considered as mano dosha, whereas raja and tama are also considered as mano dosha along with the mano gunas. Okay, so they are sattva, raja, three gunas are there. Now raja and tama, we will take these two things. Raja has been told that Rajaha pravartakaha. So Raja factor which is present inside the brain, or what do you say, the psyche, so that is responsible for pravartana, that is responsible for excitation of anything. Okay, and Tama is called as niyamaka. So Tama is considered as inhibitory in nature. So for each, the brain should contain Raja and Tama in a balanced way, so that function will take place easily, just like excitation and inhibition. Now Whenever the Raja activity increases, it leads to the overactivity of the excitatory neurotransmitter, which leads to overactivities in the muscular or some other bodily functions. And that may lead to hyperactivities, that may lead to the excitation, that may lead to seizures, that may lead to convulsions, etc. Whenever the Tama activity increases, that is, whenever the inhibitory activity of the brain cells increases, then it leads to depressed brain activity, which may be responsible for the depression and some other psychological dysfunction. Now what Ayurveda says is, Raja and Tama, these two are the manodoshas, doshas of the manas, and that should be always kept in the balance, kept in balance. If this balance get disturbed, then there will be so many manasika rogas. Now what about sattva? Sattva is not called as dosha, but it is called as manoguna. Now sattva is basically not an existing entity. If Raja and Tama, both these are present in equilibrium, in a balanced state, that particular balanced state itself is called as sattva. Because sattva is not counted under mano doshas. It is only mano gunas. So balanced position or balanced status of this Raja and Tama, that itself is called as sattva. So now, although Ayurveda not mentioned the particular neurotransmitters, the whole neurotransmitter function has been shortly explained by the concept of this Sattva, Raja and Tama. All the excitatory activities are considered to be the Rajo Guna Pradhana. All the inhibitory activities of the brain are considered as Tamo Guna Pradhana. Now, in a normal person, when the homeostasis is maintained, when the equilibrium is maintained, these two factors should be present in a balanced state. If they are not present in the balanced state, it leads to so many problems. It may be seizure, it may be overactivity, it may be altered consciousness, or many things are there. So, therefore, if the Rajo Guna is increased, suppose, in Ayurveda, the treatment is very simple. It is, we have to increase the Tamo Guna. If Tamo Guna is increased, then we have to increase the Rajo Guna. This is one-way treatment. Or, if Tamo Guna is increased, we can also go for Kapha Hara treatment, because Tama is directly related to Kapha. Okay. So similarly, if the Rajo Guna is increased, we can go for Kapha Vardhaka treatment, Kapha Kara treatment. So that is another important thing. For example, if you take, in case of the seizures, okay, whenever the convulsion, seizure, anything is taking place, we are talking about the contemporary science now. The ultimate treatment that they give is that treatment which cool down the neurotransmitters. Okay, so we can call it as barbiturates, we can call it as sedatives, hypnotics, whatever may be. Ultimately, their function is they will going to suppress the exciting cells, or anti-convulsant drugs. They are going to suppress the exciting cells. Now, what Ayurveda says is Nidra Shleshma Tamo Bhava. Nidra Shleshma Tamo Bhava. That means when activity of the Raja, that is Vata, is increased in the form of the seizures or convulsion, ultimately what we are doing is, in the contemporary sense, what we are doing is, we are inducing the sleep or sedation or hypnosis. Okay, so Nidra Shleshma Tamo Bhavaha. So that means when you increase the Tamo Guna, then the seizure activity decreases. Okay, so that means when you increase the Tamo Guna, that leads to Nidra. Nidra Shleshma Tamo Bhava. So that means this is how the sedative drugs which are given in the modern contemporary science, they will go into work. This is one way of treatment. But what Ayurveda always believe is, when Raja is increases, you can go for Tama Vardhana treatment, or when Tama is increased, you can go for Vata Vardhana treatment. This is one way. Number two is, when Raja and Tama is disturbed, instead of doing all this magic, you can go for simply maintain the Sattva Guna. So you can go for Sattvika treatment. Okay, you give such a treatment which increases the Sattva Guna of the mind. So this treatment is a treatment given to maintain the homeostasis without interfering with the Raja and Tama. The first treatment that I told, that directly we are intervening with the Raja and Tama Guna and giving either Rajo Vardhana or Rajo Hara treatment, or Tamo Vardhana or Tama Hara treatment. Instead of that, you can also go for Sattvardhana treatment by different methods. Sattvardhana treatment can be given by using the drugs, by diet or by medications or by achar rasayanas or many other sattva chikitsas, etc. So in this way, the whole concept of these neurotransmitters and their balance and all those things has been beautifully explained by this Triguna Siddhanta by Ayurveda. So this can be very well applied in all the psychological and neurological disorders. Okay, so we should know which is Rajoguna increasing disorders. We should know what are the Tamoguna increasing disorders, and accordingly we have to plan the treatment. If you look into the treatment principle mentioned in Ayurveda also, one or the other way it is related to the same principle. So this is all for today. Thank you very much. We will meet again. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.